Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal and welcome to my channel. If you guys don't already know, I have a true crime series that I upload onto my channel every Wednesday. So if you guys are into true crime, go ahead and check out my Crime with Crystal true crime series. If this is the first paralegal video that you guys are watching of mine, then I would highly suggest you guys go back and watch some of the other paralegal videos that I've uploaded, because more than likely a question that you guys may have, I've already answered it in a previous paralegal video. With that being said, if your question does not get answered in this video, or if you guys have additional questions that I haven't answered in previous videos, please go ahead and leave your questions down below in the comments. So with that being said, welcome to my channel. If you guys are not already subscribed, then please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Also, please do not forget to turn on your post notifications so that you guys are notified every time I post a video. That being said, let's jump right into today's video. Money all around me, I look like I'm the man. Today's video is going to be about the best practices that you should have if you are interested in becoming a paralegal, or if you are already a paralegal, in addition to things that attorneys look for in paralegals. This was a requested video. I wouldn't say highly requested, but it was definitely a requested video. So I'm just basically going to list like 10 things that are best practices alongside things that attorneys look for in paralegals. So before I actually just deep dive into the video, I kind of wanted to give you guys a bit of a background about me, because I do know that there are a lot of new people here to my channel, and I just want to say thank you all so much. I recently hit 2,000 subscribers, so I would like to just say thank you to each and every one of you. So a little bit about my educational background and how I became a paralegal today. I'm gonna make it super quick. If you guys aren't new here, you guys already know this story. So basically, I graduated from undergrad with a criminal justice / criminology degree from Cal State Long Beach with a minor in forensic science. Once I did that, I started working at a law firm as a file clerk. While working as a file clerk during the day, during the night, I went to paralegal school at UCLA's paralegal training program. Once I graduated from there, I was then promoted within my same firm from a file clerk to a paralegal. And here I am almost 5-6 years later. I would say that I have my dream job. I know a lot of people are like, I don't dream about working, but I actually love working, because what would I do if I didn't work? So I love it so much that I come on YouTube and I talk to you guys about it. But anyways, that's just a little brief synopsis background of me. With all that being said, let's jump into the 10 things that I think you guys should know, or that'll just help you guys out. So the first thing I have is to be very organized and pay very close attention to detail. Some people think that this is an obvious or a dead giveaway, but honestly it's not, because attorneys aren't that organized, and they're actually known for not being that organized. That is a paralegal's job. So since they're not organized, they look for a paralegal to be very organized and pay attention to detail. Think about it like this: attorneys are more so looking at the bigger picture of things. They don't really have time to go through and pay attention to the minute detail. That's your job as a paralegal, and that's what they want you to do as a paralegal. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2, I would say, is to take a lot of notes. Always take a lot of notes. I've said this plenty of times before, and I want to reiterate it because I can't emphasize this enough, how much it comes in handy with my current job. I take notes on everything, even if it's the smallest thing, because you never know if it's going to be, a larger thing later on. An attorney might say hey, from here on out, I want you to add this, I don't know, insurance provision to each contract, right? Sounds like a little thing, right? Until you're on your 10th contract and you're like, oh my God, have I been adding this insurance line? You know what I mean? So taking notes is always super helpful in meetings. I know sometimes if other people in my meetings are discussing something that I necessarily don't work on, or my hand's not in the pot, I still write it down, because you never know, that person could be out and you may be asked to do something on that case or that contract, and then you'll kind of know a little bit, because you're like, oh, I do remember hearing that 2 meetings ago, and then I did jot down something in my notes, so it's not super foreign to you. I don't think it's nosy, because I'm in the meeting too, so I write notes about what other people are talking about and what is told to me and what I'm talking about. So tip number 2 is to always take notes. Attorneys are looking for paralegals who take very good descriptive notes. So please remember that. So tip number 3 is to always make sure your calendaring is on points and very precise, whether that be litigation deadlines or dates, or calendaring internal meetings within your firm or even with your client. I think that making sure your calendaring is on point basically kind of goes hand in hand with time management. So let's say you're given multiple assignments in a day, right? I think I've discussed this before, but if I haven't, you always prioritize your assignments. Just because an attorney gives you something at 12 and then another thing at 2, that thing that they give you at 2 may be more important than the thing that they give you at 12. And it's up to you. I mean, you can ask like, hey, you did give me other stuff earlier. I just want to make sure I'm prioritizing my work, make sure, I'm doing what needs to get done first. You can ask, or you can like try to figure it out yourself, or follow up by confirming, like just to make sure this will take precedent over the assignment you handed me 2 hours ago. It never hurts to confirm. I literally find myself always apologizing for asking questions, and every time I apologize, they're like, do not apologize. We'd rather you ask us questions than not. So I say all that to say calendaring and time management go hand in hand. An attorney is looking for someone who not only knows how to calendar, but knows how to prioritize their time and has great time management skills. So tip number 4 is to have a proactive mindset. Almost as if like you should anticipate what the attorney needs, and you should always be 2 to 3 steps ahead of your attorney. I know this may sound like reading your attorney's mind, but in some way you should kind of get into your attorney's mind. Every attorney works differently. Every attorney requests different things. And I think that you should really take the time to get to know your attorney, because it will help you in the long run. I know that your attorney is the type of person who, I'm just throwing stuff out there, like examples really quickly, but if you know that your attorney is the type of person to request time to speak with you after they've given you an assignment, once they give you an assignment, you can just be like, okay, what time would you like to discuss? Like, be a step ahead of them. Don't let them have to then reach out to you and say, what time are you available? Or some attorneys don't even ask you. They're just like, make yourself available at this time. Try to always be 1 to 2 steps at least ahead of your attorney. Try to be as super proactive as you can. And in some instincts, really try to take the initiative. I know it may be scary at first because attorneys are known to be a bit intimidating, but they do love when you are proactive. Every time I've been proactive, even when I tried to be proactive one time and my proactiveness was actually wrong, the attorney came back and was like, thank you for, being proactive and jumping on this, but actually let's hold a bit. Let's wait a minute. I actually want to do this first, or I think it'll be better if we do it this way, but thanks for jumping on it. Like, I've never been criticized or critiqued for being proactive, even when my proactiveness was wrong, because we're not right 100% of the time. Nobody is right 100% of the time, but I think what an attorney really appreciates is that you're trying and your effort. So that is going to be tip number 4. So tip number 5 is to double check and triple check. Always triple check your work. This goes for everything. This goes for agreements you draft. This goes for forms you fill out. This goes for any paperwork that you need to fill out, as well as any emails that you send, whether they're on behalf of your attorney or from you yourself. And any and everything you do, always just make it a habit to double and triple check your work. Spell check anything. Even if you've gone through a document 10 times, it does not hurt and does not take a lot of time running through that spell check or that grammar check within Word 1 to 2 more times. You should be triple checking and double checking everything, so much so that it just becomes second nature to you. When I write an email, I don't just hit send. Even though I'm like, okay, I need to hurry up and get this out, 2 more minutes won't hurt anybody, unless you're like on a super tight deadline. Then I'm sure the attorney knows that you may make a mistake. Nobody is perfect, especially under so much pressure like that. But before I send an email, sometimes grammar and spell check, they don't always catch everything, especially if you misspell something and it's actually a word. Like, instead of writing to, you write top. It's not going to underline that because top is an actual word, if you guys get what I'm saying. So double checking, triple checking, spelling, grammar, all of that always helps. So tip number 6 for best practices as a paralegal is to anticipate your attorney's needs. This kind of goes hand in hand with tip number 4, to take initiative, but anticipating your attorney's needs is a little bit different. And I say that because taking the initiative to do something and do your job is different than anticipating what your attorney may need. Let's say your attorney is going into a meeting, and when they go into this meeting, you know that they always need a client file, or you know that they always need a memorandum or a certain type of correspondence with them. Anticipate that your attorney will ask you that and fulfill that attorney's need. I'm not saying that this is like a must, but to help make you stand out from other paralegals, which I hope everyone is trying to do that, to help you stand out, I think anticipating what your attorney needs is always a great thing or a great quality to have. Like I said, it kind of goes hand in hand with like taking the initiative. Anticipating your attorney's needs will definitely help you stand out as a paralegal. Tip number 7 is to confirm everything via email. Whether it be you confirming you received something, you received an assignment, you understood something, or whether it be you following up via email to a conversation that you had with somebody in person, not just your attorney, but this can be another colleague within your law firm or your office. I confirm everything via email. I actually had a conversation with a colleague one time and we discussed like an assignment and like where a document was saved and like the history of the document and what happened to the document. So I followed up with an email saying, hey, thank you for having this conversation with me in person, but just to follow up, as we discussed, the document was here, it was then moved to there. You don't have to like go into every single little detail that you guys discussed because obviously you probably had the conversation in person because it was easier to have it, but always make sure you have email proof following up, as well as confirming. A lot of people don't necessarily confirm that they've received something, and some attorneys don't mind it, but I tell them, if they give me an assignment, I don't just respond 3 hours later with, here's the assignment. I respond first and say, received, will do, or understood, will do, or got it. I will get this to you first thing tomorrow morning if I know I can't get to it today. If I know I have other things to do, I'll say, understood. I have a couple of things on my priority list. As I know this is not a priority right now, I will get to this tomorrow. Make sure that they know that you at least received their email. I love to do that, even if they're just sending you something like, hey, I'm going to send you, proof of insurance, or hey, I'm going to send you these 3 depositions that I want you to go ahead and summarize for me, do some depo summaries, and they send them over to you. Even if they say that, hey, I'm going to send you this, and they send it to you 2 minutes later, I always respond, received, or thank you, or got it. I always make sure that everything is in writing, just in case 2 weeks later down the line, I'm like, oh my God, they never sent it to me. I can go back to my email and be like, yes, I did. I said, got it. And then they can even kind of check me and be like, yes, I did. You said you got it. So I think that is great on both parties to always confirm things via email. So my 8th tip is to be as flexible as you can. I know in this industry, it's really needed, and a lot of people necessarily aren't flexible, especially the higher up you go, but especially if you're kind of new into the industry, it's very important to be flexible. Along with being flexible, I have here to have a positive attitude and with great communication skills, especially, like I said, if you're in, I don't know what these little fly things are, but especially if you're in the beginning of your career, because you want to set a great tone for yourself. If you want to stay in the same industry, law firms talk. If you're at a PI, you want to go to another PI, 9 times out of 10, somebody that used to work there knows somebody who works there. If you're at a criminal law firm, the world of legal and law is not small at all, especially if you're in, a smaller state. I know it's definitely not small in Los Angeles, and I'm in Los Angeles, and there's a lot of different law firms and a lot of people in Los Angeles, and just law schools in kind of this area, or California, if that. So I know this area is small and it has a lot of people, so I can imagine, some Midwest town is, even smaller. So with that being said, always try to make a great impression, have great communication skills, and be as flexible as you can. I'm not saying, stay till midnight every day, but the job may call for you to work overtime until 8 p.m. once in a blue moon. It won't hurt you. Make sure you're getting paid though. I'm not saying, work off the clock. I think that's actually illegal. I shouldn't even say this, but I probably did it on my own will. Probably just stayed off the clock for like an extra 10 minutes while I did something, because I'm like, it's 10 minutes. I'm sure there was 10 minutes throughout the day when I could have been doing an assignment and I just spent extra 10 minutes talking to a coworker or something. So I always kind of think about it like that. At the end of the day, I'm always grateful to have a job. Yeah, with that being said, try to be as flexible and as less difficult of a person you can be. Like I said, law firms talk, people talk. So best practice for paralegal number 9 would be to not stress, right? not stress. Yeah, right. Okay. Easier said than done. It's really important to remind yourself. If you're taking notes, make sure you write this down in all capital letters. Try your hardest not to stress. Make sure you take your breaks. No one can go a straight 8 hours working and be perfectly okay. If you can, that's not going to be healthy for you in the long run. You need to at least take 2 to 3 breaks a day. I think the law is, well, actually, specifically in California, I think the law is if you work 8 hours, you have to at least take one 30-minute lunch break and two 10-minute breaks. So make sure you're taking your breaks, not just for, clock's sake and for legal reasons. Make sure you give yourself an eye break. If you're staring at the screen for 8 hours long, you're gonna go crazy. Make sure you get some like Blu-ray glasses that, help protect your eyes from the screen, because you may be young and in this field now, but when you're 20 years in, your eyes are going to thank you. Okay, so give your eyes some breaks and some breaks from the screen, and also give your mind a break. Go walk outside for 5 minutes and look at the sky and just look at a tree, and then go back inside. Like, I promise you, it'll help you feel more productive. It'll make your day go by faster, and you'll probably feel a little bit less tired. Stand up. If you don't have stand-up desks, a lot of firms or a lot of offices in general are trying to incorporate, I think it's called ergonomics. Oh my goodness, I think I just butchered that, but it's basically trying to have you have great posture while you're working. Like, your monitor is supposed to be a certain eye length, and your chest is supposed to be like at a certain length, and you guys should look it up if you haven't. But offices, I think, legally have to make sure that the way you're positioned and set up to work is ergonomically. I'm pretty sure I butchered that word. So all of that was wrapped into don't stress, make sure you take your breaks. Your breaks are much needed. And tip number 10, as a best practice for a paralegal and something that attorneys look for in paralegals, is to always be professional and take accountability. I was going to make these into two different things, but I think they're kind of conjoined into one, because if you are being professional, or maybe they don't, maybe I just looped them into one. So let's start with being professional. Always be professional, even when you don't want to. Being professional goes a long way, and I'm pretty sure you guys are like, girl, you say this in almost every paralegal video. I say it because it's very important, and some people don't realize that. People may not have consequences immediately for being unprofessional, but if someone has to put up with that every day, trust and believe they will find a reason to get rid of you. There are so many people who are willing to work, who don't have a job, there are so many people out there that want to work. So always first be grateful that you have a job. Obviously, if you are being mistreated, then that's completely different. But I say all that to say, make sure you stay professional. Even when somebody says something you do not like, it's best to just stay quiet. No one's ever gotten in trouble for staying quiet. I even have to tell myself, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Stay quiet. And it works. So alongside that, I said take accountability. And I've said this before. Not too long ago, I sent a document out. It was the right document, but I think it had the wrong name. And I don't know how I sent the right document with like a wrong name. Look at me making errors. Nobody's perfect. And when I realized it, I called it out. I was like, oh yes, I made this mistake. My apologies. I'm going to go ahead and fix it right now. And the attorney actually asked, oh, like what caused you make that mistake? And I didn't take offense to it, because that's a normal question. Like, how you send the right document, girl, and the name is wrong, So I even had to dig deeper. Like, what did cause me to make that mistake? I stayed professional. I took accountability, and I was like, oh, I know what I did. I guess I had accidentally copied that document name from a previous one that I sent out for signature, and then pasted it instead of creating a new document name, right? We all make mistakes. I was probably going too fast, or I probably wasn't proofreading it 2 or 3 times like I told you guys to get in the habit of doing. It can avoid making those mistakes, but this was the first time that I've ever made this mistake, and this was months ago, and I haven't made a similar mistake since then. So it would have been different if I was making that mistake every day. It's like, okay, girl, let's get it together. But I made the mistake once. I was professional about it. I took accountability, and all is well. So that is going to be it for the 10 tips of best practices that I think paralegals should have. And these 10 tips were also things that I believe attorneys look for in a paralegal. I have a lot of attorney friends, and I've asked them. So I didn't just come up with this information from myself. I've asked my attorney friends and attorneys that I worked with in the past and currently work with, and a lot of these tips were given from them, straight from the attorney. So I hope this answered some of you guys' questions. Like I said, if you have more questions that I haven't answered previously, then please go ahead and leave it down below in the comments. And don't forget to let me know what day you guys would love paralegal uploads. Wednesdays are for true crime, so give me a date for paralegal uploads and I will stay true to it. Thank you guys for tuning in to another paralegal video with me. If you guys are not already subscribed, then please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And please do not forget to turn on your post notifications so that you guys are notified when I upload. And that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.
You see money all around me. I look like I'm the